Should be working well, hopefully. Yay, seems to be going alright. Okay. Hello and welcome, dear patrons, to the Tables of Tartarus, a chapter of Purgatory Corner. Today, our DM is Benny, or Autis DM, on TikTok, and today we're going to be continuing the Tales of Oceans Ablaze. Huge shout out to our $3 patron, Pastry Boy Fritter. If you guys are interested in being shouted out on the channel, or if you're interested in helping one of us create more NPCs for stories, campaigns, or all the way up the ranks, all the way to even a potential BBEG, feel free to go to our Patreon or go to our Discord and you guys can talk with us a little bit more. We have our new monthly schedule that has been released on our Discord. So go check that out. Things might be changing based on work schedules and stuff, so we'll be seeing how that flows. Benny, if you'd like to take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on as always. So where last we left off, the party had been given a ship, and what they had to do in repayment for the ship was that the owner of the pirate den who had given it to them needed them to go and deal with a warship because two of the larger powers in the region are close to going to war with each other, and they're trying to coerce others into being their allies. So the party set out to destroy the ship, and it went off completely smoothly. There were no mishaps, no notes on how it could have gone. Or one of the player characters threw an entire day's worth of alchemist bombs into a room where another player character was. And that player character rolled the most unfortunate nat 1 I've ever seen. One of the two, I forget.
Let's not forget that player also forgot there was an option to save me from that particular explosion.
I do apologize.
We all love that particular player character.
So anyway, before we get into it, I'd like to go ahead and do our usual round of introductions. And you all have had a pretty wild ride, especially the last few sessions. You were imprisoned, you broke out of prison, you were involved in an operation against a cult, you sunk a ship that was much larger and much more heavily crewed than the ship you were on. More than one of you has had encounters with extra-dimensional beings. So last week we did the one where we go around and what does your character think of one other character in the party, and we will get back to that. But for this time, I think what I'd like to do is more of a general, how is your character feeling about the circumstances they're in at this point? Because it's been pretty eventful. We'll start with Marina Oceanstar.
So, how Marina's feeling about everything she's gone through is she's at this point taking it as she goes because it's definitely not something she's used to. Especially since she has waited for this day most of her life. She's been excited. She's read books and stories and just all these things to live up for this adventure she dreamed of. And now that she finally got to experience it, it's rough for her. She's wondered a couple of times whether it'd be just better for her to go back home because it's not what she expected. But she is too much of a compassionate, empathetic person. So at this point, she's taking it as she goes, even though it's not what she expected. Okay, but so she has had many good times.
That's fair. So there were slightly more noble characters and slightly fewer perforated eardrums in the storybook. Got it. Next up, let's go with Ace.
Ace at the moment, I'm not too sure how he would feel about a lot of this. A lot of this he would be feeling as like kind of, it's a difficulty he kind of has to get past, I suppose. The ship being stolen and then getting a new ship and having a mission set by his patron, and also with the potentiality that his own captain is now dead at this point. It's a little bit rough to deal with, but he's probably just believing that if he just keeps going, he'll be good.
Okay. Next up, let's do Signa.
Oh yeah, this trip is exactly what Signa had planned. It's going just peachy. At this point,
Sunshine and rainbows.
At this point, Signa's seriously starting to question many of her life choices, especially worshipping elder gods that pull desperate sailors into the depths, especially after they poorly patched her back together again after the last encounter.
Fair enough. And I believe the last one on the list would be Locke.
Locke is having the time of his fucking life right now. I mean, all the cool stuff that keeps... There's all kinds of cool stuff that keeps happening, and gets to be right in the middle of it. I mean, he's easily looking to be at the forefront of changing warfare as he knows it. And if I play my card, if he plays his cards right, he might even just become an arms dealer or something at some point.
Oh jeez, that'd be fitting.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what more could a goblin, artificer, artillerist / alchemist, mad bomber hope for?
Yep.
So the party is actually at a spot that hasn't happened in the campaign, and that is a spot where there's nobody immediately compelling you to do anything in particular. You'd had a general desire to rescue your captain, who was taken to work in the mines of a sort of a city-state called Sargasia. Both Ace and Signa's patrons have expressed the desire for the war that's brewing between the two city kingdoms of Spaden and Trinoa to not happen. There's not necessarily specific instructions on how to make a war not happen. And for context, the Princess Liliana of Trinoa turned up in Spaden, and Trinoa demanded her back. Spaden has refused, and now both sides are arming for war. So theoretically, getting the princess home could do it. Theoretically, doing something very creative involving a lot of alchemy on one city or the other could do it. There's a lot, there's just many ways that you could make this stop. So the question is, what does the party want to do? What do you, assuming you're even interested in this mission of stopping this war, how do you want to go about it?
Okay, hear me out. We kill the princess.
We don't have any...
No, hear me out. We don't have any allegiances to any one nation. So if we kill her before she can start the conflict, everyone will just be mad at us, so they won't fight each other.
So what you're telling me is, you think that we should have two, possibly, continental forces on our ass at the same time?
I don't recall saying that in those exact words, admittedly.
I do believe that would be what happened if we murder the person that one side is looking for and the other side wants to have, and then state that, hey, we murdered her, don't focus on each other.
Well,
I suppose you might have a point.
I mean, to be honest, there's opportunity to be had in large-scale warfare. And, unfortunately, I haven't quite perfected what I need, what I would need in order to seize that opportunity. So while I can see the
appeal,
timing is just not right. I mean, we could just take her hostage for a little while or something like that, but
could do that. Would make it a little bit easier to prevent the war. Be like, you guys start a war, we'll kill her, Had to really
I
get
feel
the
like this
message
just
out
causes-
That's gonna get it. That's the same. That's the same result, just different steps. And while I'm having this conversation, I'm in the midst of mixing up 2 health potions for Signa's badly burnt body.
just been chugging
I
those
feel like
down.
I feel like there's a better way to go about this. I mean, I don't know what my family's involvement is in this war because I was assigned to the princess's transfer.
Well, I assume if something bad happens to her, your parents will also cause a fuss on whichever side that they seem to be leaning on. So our first course of action should probably make sure that she isn't dead. Because if she is dead, I mean, we ain't got nothing that road anyways, so.
Sounds like no matter what we do, we're thinking on going and getting this girl.
Seems like the best option. Hopefully she swims well.
Well, I guess.
Well, I mean, I don't know if she swims too well because she's human. Not many humans swim too well.
You clearly have not met a lot of pirates.
Well, yeah, not many pirates end up alive at the bottom of the ocean.
That's true. You would know a lot of folks that don't swim very well. They come down to meet you. It's fair. Well, we have a lead on the girl at least. Kind of.
Yeah. I'd say let's get our heading and sail this little ship out to wherever she is.
Alright, let's take the lead.
All right. So you had last heard that she was heading in the general direction of the city of Spaden. So
Mhm.
that's ostensibly that's going to be your course now, which it'll take you a few days to get there by sea, assuming you don't run into any difficulty as you do so.
Mhm.
Now, a few things are going to happen for different party members as you're presumably running the ship in shifts, so some of you can rest while the others run the ship. Signa, it's not going to escape your notice that, or escape your recollection that your deities, while they do seem to have returned you to life, they're not really known for healing people. And less philosophically and more of immediate concern, you feel a lot less connected to your magic in general and to your deities in particular than you did before all of this happened. The other thing you notice after you've had some chance to rest is that when you're working at tasks where you would have previously gotten winded, it's not so much that you don't get winded as that you realize you're not breathing.
That's a really good sign. That's very confident in my physical health right now.
But that being said, you do seem to be generally pretty physically capable. You feel fine. You can do all of the things you were able to do before. As a matter of fact, it feels almost like your limbs respond a little more quickly than they did before. Also, you have an appetite for something that you can't quite. It's one of those like I'm in the mood for, but then you can't quite think of the name of the food you want. You just know that it's something vaguely savory. It's not particularly overpowering, and when you eat regular food, you feel fine. It's just to have a general kind of a yen for something else. So that's what's going on for you. What is everybody else doing on this leg of the voyage?
Ace is
We'll go ahead and
probably
start with
making.
Marina.
Oh.
Marina would just be watching the ocean. Kind of just a little homesick, but just being watchful.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check just because.
Okay. Unnatural 21.
Okay, so what you are able to determine from watching the ocean is that a lot of the, especially the more intelligent sea creatures, do respond to the things people are doing above. And the way everything from the old gods all the way down to some of the more intelligent fish and squid and things like that, the way everything is moving, they're expecting trouble. They're expecting conflict to come. So knowledge of the coming war has reached the depths, and you're definitely aware of that fact, and you're aware that things are in motion below that will affect your people if this war breaks out, and it's not entirely clear what that effect will be for them. Ace, I did not mean to interrupt you. Nobody else was talking, so I had moved things along, but please go ahead with what Ace would be doing.
You're good. Ace is probably setting up just the boat itself, checking out the heading, probably looking over a map, just generally trying to get the boat in to the place it needs to go, how it needs to go, and making sure it actually is going to function all the way there.
All right, so what you do notice in the course of doing that is that your provisions are a little bit low, and you are going to need to put into port. It's nothing. There's nothing really wrong. It's just you just need to resupply. You've been at sea for a couple of days, and it's time to put in somewhere and resupply before you run out of fresh water and things like that.
Yeah.
And same question for Locke.
Well, I would be trying to find probably like in the middle of the night, quiet moments to pop open the workshop and start refining the materials like Oleana was talking about with my explosives, But at the same time, remembering the amount of time that I have in this space, like in between doing that, it's also kind of a mess, right? Like it popped open and everything just kind of like was all over the place to begin with.
I wouldn't say it's a mess, but it's definitely a workshop that sees use. And Locke doesn't strike me as somebody who keeps the most orderly workshop of his own, although you're welcome to correct me if I'm wrong.
Organized chaos type of deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd be going through the inside of the workshop, checking out notes, any sort of scientific texts that she may have stored away in there. Specifically, I'm a little bit focused in the more immediate right now because it's sort of like almost like a new hyperfixation is on the mechanical arm that she had.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if there's an anatomy book in there and I can sort of like go through it and try to figure out how to attach this thing and where to attach it best and like construction and sort of start sketching out construction ideas.
Right.
But if there's also if there's any research regarding if there's any research that regarding sort of, gosh, I'm not even really sure what to call it, regarding flammable materials that will stay lit even on water, and that water itself won't be able to put out. It'll just sort of spread it and make it worse.
Like tar.
Okay.
There's like it's like I have the basic understanding of what a grease fire will do, but I want but what I'm trying to do, the big overarching thing, what I'm attempting to do, I'm looking to do that under a controlled environment and turn it into something that can be used in a targeted way.
Okay, so make a general intelligence check.
Okay. Do I have any fun little things? Here we go. That is a 15.
All right. So you do find a book that goes into some of the very particular properties of why water quenches fire. And you get the feeling that if you can read this thing cover to cover and really take some time to study and understand it, it will give you some of the insight that you're looking for as to what you would need to create that would have properties that water would no longer quench the fire. In other words, understanding what the interaction actually is would help you stop the interaction.
Right. Okay.
So basically, what it amounts to is that while there is some tinkering and experimenting going on, because this is Locke, there's also a fair amount of reading going on.
Mm-hmm.
During Oliara, the alchemist's occasional visits, most of her insight, most of her input is essentially, you're on the right track, keep studying up on this stuff, and you'll be able to do what you need to do, or at least get closer to it. All right. So, based on what I had said about the situation with the provisions, is it reasonable to say that the ship would put into port when it's able to do so?
Yeah, he'd probably find especially if he has a map, he'd probably go for one of the closer ones. I don't believe we have any money still, so he's probably gonna see if he can find an odd or end job that he can do once they get into port, to obviously pay for provisions or make a deal. And I
So
do
Locke,
have the feature down low. You're acquainted with a network of smugglers who are willing to help you out of tight situations. While in a particular town, city, or other similar sized community, DM's discretion, you and your companions can stay for free in the safe houses. They provide a poor lifestyle, and while staying at a safe house, you can choose to keep your presence and that of your companions a secret if you wish.
okay. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the question, Locke. You did come into some gold a while back, but you didn't necessarily share that information with the party. Is that something Locke is sharing with the party, or is that something Locke is keeping to himself?
That was just the straight 200 gold that I found, right?
Yep.
I'll share. I'd share half of it with the party.
Okay. So you have a choice here, Ace. You can either pay a couple of gold to tie up the boat and get your provisions, go to the tavern, do whatever you would normally do in port. Or you can go ahead and use that down low feature to essentially keep to the seedier side of town, knowing that your friends will essentially see that you're taken care of, although you may owe them some favor at an indeterminate point in the future.
If he has a bit of money, so he'd probably go with the money route first. He doesn't like owing favors if he doesn't have to. He might use that down low feature to try to get some information about the town if possible, but...
All right. So go ahead and make an investigation check with advantage.
Will do. That's going to be a 19.
Okay. So your contact here is a satyr named Barley, and basically, true to his name, he perpetually seems to be a few drinks in, so how reliable the information he has can be in question. Not that he's lying to you, just his level of perception. But Barley is going to quietly inform you that where you are is generally a pretty quiet little fishing village. Ships stop there on their way to other places. There's no standing army. There's ostensibly a mayor of the town, but nobody's really in charge. It's a good place to go if you're not really interested in being found, and especially if you just have a layover and want to take it easy for a couple of days. Although, if things do get bad, nobody's going to help you.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. All right. While the party is here, do you think you all would take a meal at the inn? Or is it reasonable to assume that that's something most of you would want to do?
Ace would.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
why not?
All right. Well, by a happy coincidence, if I can get this to work, I have a map of the inn.
Oh, nice.
Blam.
Yay!
So basically, these are the two tables. At the end there is the bar. You have the innkeeper, and the blue things represent chairs.
Mhm.
The idea is you sit at a table and you face one of the two fireplaces on either side as you're eating. Any particular way you all want to arrange yourselves? I can move those tokens around.
Ace would probably go to the top middle of the that one, then one to the right. Kind
Okay.
of makes it so he's blending within the crowd without being too far from everything else.
Okay. Marina, where would you be in this?
Marina would follow
Okay.
because she doesn't really know the area or really the situation too well. So she would just follow and sit by him.
Okay. Locke?
I'd be up on that top right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's the best chance that I'd have at least to see if trouble comes through the door.
Smart.
Fair enough. Is Load going to be with you for this adventure?
Oh yeah, Load's with me the entire time.
Okay.
Doggo.
All right. So Loads will be over there by the fire, I guess, and then finally, Signa. Where's Signa going to set up?
Signa is going to take up post in the other corner, the opposite corner to. God, forgetting the name. There we go.
Lock.
Yep, that one.
That spot?
Yep.
Okay. So Signa's kind of sitting by herself. The place is actually pretty quiet as you all are in it, and the innkeep pretty cheerfully serves you. He's curious about who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. It seems more like friendly conversation than anything else. But it does beg the question, how honest do you want to be with this person, or do you want to just wave him away and not really interact?
Ace would probably talk to him, he would probably start talking to him about like the things they've seen as if they were a fisherman boat. And so he would just start talking about the different fisherman styles, things he's picked up over the years, tall tales, but reasonable enough that it just sounds like a fisherman's journey, basically.
Okay. Would you go ahead and give us a deception check, please?
Will do. That would be a unnatural 20.
Okay. So you're so successful at this that he's not particularly interested in anything you have to say because he's met a million fishermen and heard a million fishermen stories.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, it's effectively a success because that's kind of what you want in this situation.
Yeah, it's essentially what he's going for is he's blending into such a point where if the guy gets bored with him because he's so similar to everyone else, that's his goal.
Fair enough. All right, so what happens next, I think, Locke, you'll be in the best position to see it. You're all essentially finishing up your meal, and this door on the end here slams open, and several orcs walk into the room, and they're all wearing uniforms. It's a black tabard with a red crescent moon design, which you recognize as the uniform of Sargasia, which is the place that briefly imprisoned you and that you all had escaped from.
Mm-hmm.
And upon seeing this group of armed orcs walk in, your friendly innkeeper is going to very promptly disappear into the back of this establishment. And again, Locke, you're in the best position to hear it, although Marina, you have high passive perception, so you probably hear it as well. The door he went through, you distinctly hear a lock click behind it, like he's shut and locked the door. And one of the orcs is going to step forward and give you all a very toothy grin. He's got his hand on his sword, and he's going to say, "So, took us a while to catch up with you. The people at the tomb were harder to coerce to talk than you would think, but here we are. So would you all like to do this the easy way?" And at this point, he's going to just not fully, but sort of half unsheath his sword and say, "Or would you like to do it the fun way?"
I would like Signa to throw a dagger at this person.
Okay.
Marina's just gonna sigh and be like, "Hey, just do this after lunch."
So I am going to give myself advantage on that particular one using a bonus action.
Okay.
All right, that's the, was it the samurai fighting spirit?
Yep, fighting spirit.
Okay.
Okay, does a natural 20 hit?
Natural 20 hits. You have sneak attack, which I believe is 3d6 at this level, and because it's a natural 20, I believe that works out to 2d4 plus 6d6 plus your dexterity modifier.
Yeah, so that
Jesus.
is going to be a total of 29 piercing damage.
Okay.
And the enemies within, we have up to 2 enemies within 15 feet of him, then take 2d6 damage.
Okay, roll it up.
That is going to be a total of 12 damage.
Good God.
Okay. Could you describe how, I mean, we understand you wing a dagger into the person who spoke. Can you describe what's happening to the 2 closest to him?
Oh, yeah, so Signa just flings out this dagger from her sleeve. Sort of trailing behind it are 2 sort of ethereal versions of the same blade that so land at basically the same spot, aiming for the neck on these 2 guards.
All right. And at this level, you have extra attack, so you can make another attack this turn if you want.
Which I am going to do.
All right. How are you doing it?
At this point, I am going to stand, and I'm actually... map is updated for their accurate position.
That's correct. That's where everybody is.
In that case, I am going to walk up to the nearest guy and hit him really hard. Short.
All right. That's still the one who spoke, so...
fucking him up.
Yeah. And you're still attacking with advantage.
Yep. So that is going to be a total of 16 to hit.
16 does hit.
A mighty total of 2 damage.
Very mighty.
How's that possible? Isn't your modifier higher than that?
That's really
yeah,
sad.
right.
You need new dice.
Yeah, no, I forgot about the change to modifiers. Okay, so that's actually going to be a total of 4 damage, but that was absolute minimum damage, annoyingly.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the... action surge to attack them again.
Okay. So that's 2 more attacks. At advantage.
Do I do this fun way or the not fun?
Okay. I'm going to assume the 11 does not hit.
11 does not hit.
22, on the other hand.
That definitely hits.
And... there we go. That is going to be a total of 9 damage.
Okay. So, I mean, what the party is seeing is Signa is, as I recall, a high elf, so rather small, slender, just a very petite person. Starts by winging a dagger into this orc's neck and then walks up and gets wildly stabby. And this orc is no longer grinning whatsoever. And I think I'm just going to go the order I see people on the screen for what happens next. Marina, you have just watched this entirely reasonable response to what was said. What are you going to do?
Marina is going to. Oh. She's going to use Dissonant Whispers on the guy.
Okay.
And she's just still grumpy because she wanted to eat her food in peace. So roll.
Okay, so he has to make a wisdom save.
DC 14 wisdom save.
He succeeds, but if memory serves, he still takes half damage.
Yeah. So damage will be either round up or down, but the total is 11.
All right, so we'll call that 5 damage. He's still up, but he's not looking good. Is Marina doing anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Next up is going to be Locke.
Okay. The area that these guys are all standing in, how big is that space? Like wall to wall, what are we looking at?
Wall to wall, call it 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It's about 40 feet across, and it's about 12 feet high.
Gotcha. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend a sorcery point to quicken spell web at the group that's above Signa so that I don't catch Signa in the web.
Okay.
I'm gonna so what everybody sees is I reach into one of the pockets on my coat and I pull out this tiny little spider bot and I roll it across the floor. It skitters for a little while until it gets over into that space and just thick sticky webbing just explodes out in a 20-foot cube, just filling that location.
Does it look anything like that?
Basically.
All right.
They have to make a. Let me just double check if it's a dex save.
While you're doing that,
It is a dex save. It's a dex save 16.
Okay, 16. They all fail.
Okay, so they're all restrained.
Okay.
Right. And then so what I'm going to do is I'm going to then take a laughing gas bomb and the 4 that are surrounding Signa, I'm going to toss the laughing gas bomb into the middle of that group so that gets them just screaming out, "Hold your breath, Signa!" And I'm going to throw it. And so Signa's going to be protected from the blast this time. And they all have to make a 16 con save or fall prone in a fit of laughter and take 2d6 poison damage.
So it was a 16 con save?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 2 succeeded and 2 failed.
So the ones that succeeded took a full 12 poison damage and fell prone to the floor.
Okay, so these 2 that I marked with that circle are prone, and you said each of them took a full 12 points of damage?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And finally, Ace.
All right.
Ostensibly the captain, the leader. The situation happened. One of your crewmates who you thought of as being a magic user just decided to get prolifically stabby, and the others have seemed to have followed suit. What do you do?
Yeah, considering he threatened us, I won't take that threat seriously. Also, the fact they're wearing the same brand as we got captured by before. I'm going to use Hexblade's Curse on the guy directly above the guy that Signa is fighting, who is currently restrained.
Okay.
So I deal 3 extra damage to them. Any attack I make that's 19 or 20, I get a critical hits instead of just 20. And if they die, I regain hit points equal to my warlock level plus my charisma modifier, which would be 10 hit points. So I'm going to use that as my bonus action. And then essentially, I'm going to jump onto the table, pull out my Hexblade sword, I believe. Unless that, yeah. Pull out my sword, which just spawns my hand. And I'm just going to do a running jump into the guy.
Okay.
So that's going to give
He's
me...
restrained, so go ahead and attack with advantage.
Yep. So that's going to be... 17 to hit.
17 does hit.
Alright, so that'd be 8 damage plus 3, that's 11 damage, plus sneak attack. So 11 plus 4, that'd be 15 damage.
Okay, this is one of the people that Signa damaged with a thrown dagger.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe at this level you get another... I don't remember, actually. I guess it depends on what indications you took. Do you get another attack at this level?
No, I do not. Not
Okay.
to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. Are you doing anything else this turn?
No.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be their turn.
The ones that are in the web can make a strength save to break free of the web, or to be no longer restrained.
Okay. 1 second. All right. So we'll start with them making their saves. What's the DC on the strength save?
16.
Okay. So 3 of them break out pretty easily, and one of them, we'll just say it's the one furthest back, remains trapped. Signa, I need you to please make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. It's going to be a 3.
Okay.
I'm using different dice, I swear to God.
So you're going to take 13 thunder damage, and you're pushed 10 feet away from this guy. So that's about there. You're basically thrown back into the table. One of the ones that failed the save or succeeded on the save with Locke's deal is going to rush forward, and he gets 2 attacks. One of them is a 14 to hit. Does that catch your AC?
It does not.
Okay. Well, the other one is a 21 to hit, so I'm guessing that does.
That would do it.
Yep. He's using a longsword for reference, but that does a whole 5 slashing damage.
Ow.
And how long does the laughing gas effect last, Locke?
Hang on. It might not have even specified. It's too far. Quiet bomb, smoke bomb. I got it here, I swear. It doesn't specify.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is that they'll each make a check. I believe it was Constitution to get back up.
Yeah.
What was the DC on that?
16.
Okay. So one of them succeeds and one of them doesn't. So this guy gets up and he doesn't really have an action. So he just kind of moves up into a more combative state and is in essentially a ready position. So they burn through their actions getting out of what Locke had put them in.
Mm-hmm.
Just an FYI, my character would be between those three guys at the top there.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I stabbed the guy to the top left of me.
All right. Yeah, so Ace, you're definitely feeling a distinct lack of personal space at this point. Signa, we're back to you.
All right. I'm going to get up and go and stab the leader again.
Okay, so to stab the leader, you would have to get past the one that's directly in front of you and provoke an opportunity attack. Do you still want to do that?
I am going to use my cunning action to engage for a bonus action.
All right, so you're disengaging with this guy, and you're now... Okay. So you're not going to have advantage on your attacks, but you can, if you land anything, you still can do sneak attack because Ace is right by you. Go ahead and make your attack rolls.
So actually, that is going to be a 19 and a 17 for both of my attacks this turn.
Okay, both of those hit, so roll up your damage, and one of those has got sneak attack if you wish.
I do. Okay. Okay. That is going to be a total of 22 damage.
All right, so that guy is down. And for the rest of the party, what you're seeing is this strange, very magical, or what you knew as a strange, very magical person who is reliant entirely on their spell casting. I don't think you have seen Signa wield a weapon, is suddenly moving with superhuman speed and just carving through people. Okay, so next up, we're back to Marina.
Marina is going to try to kind of get in that same. Actually, she's actually going. Yeah, she's going to use her fairy fire and try to include those 4 people that are close to that circle you made in the left corner.
All right, so basically roughly this, I don't know how well you can see it, but the circle I'm making with the mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, and they...
It's the
Go ahead.
same DC 14 dexterity saving throw.
So all 4 of them have to make that save. And what's the DC on that?
14.
14. All but one of them failed. One of them actually rolled a natural 1. So what I'm going to say is this guy succeeds, but this guy, upon seeing fire appear all around him, jumps and blunders into that guy.
Oof.
So whoever attacks either of them still has advantage because they're tangled up with each other because the way the guy spazzed out.
Nice.
And that's all that Marina's going to do.
That's all Marina's going to do? All right. And I hadn't really planned it, but Ace, since that guy moved away from you, you can take an opportunity attack on him if you want.
Will do. Hold on just a moment.
Hold on me. I don't know where we are right now.
You're on the top right.
Well, physically I know where we are, but I don't know where we are in combat.
Oh.
You're after Marina.
That's a 23 to hit.
Okay, that definitely hits. Roll damage.
Will do. That'd be 10 slashing damage.
Okay. So you catch him as he's backing away and get a good gash in on him. And now we're on Locke.
Okay.
Real quick, wouldn't it be in it with advantage because he's in the fairy fire or he's tangled up? Or no?
That is true. That is true. It would be an advantage.
So add in my sneak attack.
Yeah, you can.
All right, will do. Where's my sneak attack? Ah, there you are. Doo-doo. That would be an additional 12 damage.
Okay. Well, he was reeling back out of shock. Now he's reeling back out of fairly catastrophic hemorrhagic blood loss. In any case, with that lovely thought, it's Locke's turn.
Okay. I'm gonna take a half a second and I'm gonna load 3 reagent dice into a sort of a basic bomb that I have. I'm gonna put that on the collapsible launcher that I have, and I'm gonna fire it at the dude that's still in the web, because I think if I do that, the 15-foot radius should hit everybody that's in all the bad guys that are up in this upper corner here without hitting any of my allies. Am I right on that?
That sounds about right.
Okay. So I guess I roll with advantage.
Correct.
Okay. That is 26 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna do. So the guy that's in the thing, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, because he gets hit with the full brunt of everything.
Okay.
The web catches fire because the explosive is a firebomb.
Right.
And that does 2d4 plus a 1d8 plus 5, and then plus 5d10, and everybody next to him takes the 5d10. If they fail a DC 16 dexterity save.
Okay.
So he takes.
All right, so this guy at the bottom here, the one closest to Ace and Signa, did succeed. The others failed.
Okay, so the ones that failed take 10, 11, 15, 20, 26 fire damage.
All right, so that guy is now a memory.
And the poor bastard that's in the web takes that 26 damage plus 6, 7, 8, 9, 14. So plus 14 extra damage to the poor bastard that's caught in the web right now.
Okay.
And so that's just a lot of damage.
Yep.
Yeah, so 26 plus 14. So yeah, he takes 40 damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then for my bonus action. Now So there was only the one guy that wiped out completely, or
Yeah, it took out the one. It took out that one that I specified that I took off the map. The others are still up.
all right. And then I'm gonna try and give Ace a little bit of extra space, and I'm gonna direct load to take a shot at the guy in the guy that's kind of right next to the door, over by Ace's over by Ace. Nope, up one. Him.
Okay.
All right. Was he under the effects of the fairy fire?
He is.
Okay, so I gotta roll with advantage for that. That's an unnatural 20.
Definitely hits.
All right, and then he takes. Where are my d8s? And he takes 18 force damage and gets forced 5 feet back towards the door.
Okay, so he just gets slammed out through the door, and outside you can hear some cursing and shouting. You don't exactly know what happened other than he got knocked clear through the door.
All right.
Will that end your turn?
That's everything I can do now.
Okay. Ace, we are back to you.
Nice. The guy in front of me, I can't remember. Is he under fairy fire as well or no?
Guy in front of you is in this guy?
Yeah.
That one is not under fairy fire, I
Okay,
believe,
cool.
unless someone remembers different.
But okay. I do believe that sneak attack does let me do it.
You have an ally next to you.
Yeah, if an ally's next to me. Okay. So I'm just gonna do full stabby stab on him with both my swords, action, and bonus action.
Okay, sounds good.
And no, the guy who's hexed is above me. So, this guy, he is going to. It's a 12 to hit for my longsword.
That does not hit.
Okay, so that's a 24 to hit. Oh, sorry, I forgot to roll advantage on that.
You don't have advantage.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, never mind. So yeah, 12 to hit for the first one, so it doesn't hit. And then short sword is 24 to hit.
24, though, definitely does hit.
Okay, so that's 6 damage plus sneak attack, which is 5. So 11 damage total. And that'll be my turn.
Okay. That ends your turn? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy is going to move up to Signa and attack twice. So one of those is over 20. The other one is, does 17 hit your AC?
Yes and yes.
Okay. So the first attack is going to do 6 damage. Second one does 7 for a total of 13.
I'm going to up with the canny dodge. I'm going to have the one of those attacks, the first one.
Okay, sounds good. I forgot that rogues can do that. The other one on the other side of you is going to move in. First attack, does 16 hit your AC?
Eats it.
Okay. So that's 10 damage.
Ow.
Second attack, going to go out on a limb here and say 10 doesn't hit your AC.
What does not?
This guy is going to pull out a dagger and throw it at Locke. Locke, does 13 hit your AC?
Nope.
Okay. Dagger wings on by you and does absolutely nothing. The other one is going to have the same idea. I'm gonna guess 18 does hit your AC.
I'm gonna hit a button on my wrist and I'm gonna cast shield as a reaction.
Okay, sounds good.
I now have 21 AC.
So just like an energy shield, like that thing Bo-Katan Kryze has, just pops out of your wrist, and this dagger that was heading right for your eye suddenly does nothing. All right. And Ace, the guy in front of you, gets 2 attacks. First one is an 11, which I'm guessing doesn't hit. Second
Nope.
one's an 18, which I'm pretty sure
That one
does.
hits.
All right, and that's going to be 8 damage to you.
Okay.
Back to Signa.
Okay, so the person to the left of my character sprite, that one. I'm going to stab him very hard, and I believe I still get the sneak attack because Ace is right next to me.
Yeah.
You do, and you also can use your samurai ability to give yourself advantage should you wish to.
I'm not going to.
Okay, you're not going to. All right, so you get 3 attacks if you want them.
Yep. So that is going to be 15 for the first attack.
15 just hits.
All right, and then 19 for the second attack,
That definitely hits.
and natural 1 for the third attack.
Jesus.
Should have gone for the advantage. So 2 of the 3 hit, and you do get your sneak attack damage.
Okay. All right. That is going to be a total of 20 stabbing damage. And
Okay.
because of the sneak attack, I forgot to do this last time. Everyone in 15 feet of him takes 2d6 damage. So let me just roll that. That is going to be a total of 8 damage.
Okay, so 8 damage to 2 more of them. So I know it seems like a lot of these guys are still up, but none of them look good. Like they're all hurt pretty bad. And does that end your turn, Signa?
Yes, it does.
Okay, Ace, you're up.
Okay. I thought that Marina was after Signa.
I'm sorry. You know what? You're absolutely right. I wasn't paying attention.
You're good.
Marina, you're up.
Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
So Marina's going to do it's only she's gonna do Dissonant Whispers again.
Okay. Which one of the 5 guys are you targeting?
She'll do the one that's on Ace.
Okay. So he has to make a save.
And yeah. Is it this one?
He
Oh, he's
failed.
only-
He failed, so you can go ahead and roll the damage if you want to.
Okay. That'll be 9 psychic damage.
Okay.
And bonus action, she's going to give bardic inspiration to Signa.
Okay. So
How much is that bardic inspiration worth?
What was that?
How much is the bardic inspiration worth? What's the dice at this level?
D8.
Yeah, I believe it's D.
D8.
Okay, so here's what happens. He fails his save. He essentially pushes past Ace and Signa on his way to the door, meaning you both get opportunity attacks.
Sweet. Now, is that with advantage?
That would not be with advantage.
Okay. It's going to be an unnatural 20.
Definitely hits. Go ahead and roll up the damage.
Okay. It's going to be 8 damage.
Okay. And Signa, are you taking advantage of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is an opportunity attack, just to be sure, right?
Yep.
That's correct.
All right. I'm not going to stab him. I am going to bite him.
Go for it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to use that bardic inspiration just real quick. Okay.
Your below half
total,
health,
that
you
is-
attack with advantage with that, remember?
Oh, right, advantage. Okay. Okay, in that case, we're good. That is going to be a total of 3 bite damage. I haven't marked what kind of damage this does, and I'm going to heal for that much HP.
Okay, so what the party and the orcs see is as this guy is trying to escape, Ace manages to cut him, and Signa, who's holding a weapon on each hand, chooses to jump on him and bite his neck. And it's at just about this point that the other orcs are going to decide that they would really, really enjoy being anywhere that's not here.
Smart plan.
And so, yeah, so they're going to start fleeing. The one that you had knocked out of the, I believe it was Locke had knocked out, is actually coming back in as this is happening. So basically, he winds up getting sort of knocked prone over here.
Mm-hmm.
And he is watching as his friends are running away, and he sees one of your party feeding on his friend. Signa, I'm going to need you to make a strength check, please.
Okay. Is at this point that I will be adding the bardic inspiration? All right, that's going to be a total of 15.
While it is respectable, he does roll higher than that. He manages to escape. And this last guy looks up at the group of you from the floor, and just with his hands up, he drops his weapon and he says, "Parlay?"
Ace is going to make his main hand longsword just kind of disappear, as he's just going to walk over and kind of pick up Signa by the back of the neck. Assuming that Signa will probably try attacking, he'll go, "Give us a reason."
I surrender. I'm not. You've obviously won here. It's over. You've won.
Fair enough. Come sit with us, or we will kill you. He's just don't go and sit down on kind of one of probably the second stool over there on the top. To the
Okay.
left. 3 to the left.
Oops. All right, so we don't need the map anymore. The rest of this, we're out of combat.
Yeah.
All right, so the guy does as he's told. He goes and takes a seat at the end of the table, and he is badly hurt. And what do you all do at this point?
I just don't kind of look at him and go, "Your party's been chasing us. for seemingly a while now. They not only captured us, they put us in prison, we escaped, they came after us again, they potentially killed the captain of my previous ship. I would like you to tell me why, if you know.
Well, I mean, we chased you because of the jailbreak and the killing the guards, and that was just a lot of murder that was going on. And your captain, I believe, is a smuggler. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes down. You're very much wanted because of what you did during your escape and all of your many crimes.
Fair. Although before that, we were a perfectly respectable ship that was just cruising down. We even decided to give back cargo that we thought was a bad cargo to have on our ship. We were going to smuggle, and then we realized we shouldn't, so we decided to give it back, and then we got thrown in jail for it. So how is that fair exactly, sir?
Look,
we're not smuggling. We were imprisoned.
Look, I don't really. This is all a little bit above me. I just they gave me some coin for this job, and I get to carry the sword, and I'm not really in charge of anything.
Fair. Does anyone listen to you in your bundle of folks?
So he's going to look around the inn and he's going to point at one of the bodies and say, well, he did, but, well,
I apologize for that. But, try kill us, we try to kill him back. You know how it is. We got threatened while eating our meal, so we retaliated. I don't particularly want to send you back in case they tried to kill you. I would feel really bad if you were to leave this area and they think that we were communicating of sorts. I don't particularly want to kill you. Don't worry about that. So how do you think we should progress?
Well, if you all just leave, I mean, but you pretty clearly won this fight, so he's gonna kind of sigh and lean down on the table for a moment, and like he's really hurt, so he's having a little bit of trouble keeping up with the conversation because of his injuries. But he's gonna, after he collects himself, he's gonna say, "But I mean, when they find us here with half the crew dead and the other half badly injured, I don't think anybody's going to assume anything about me."
Fair enough. In that case, if you could do me a favor, and assuming you don't die from your injuries, I'll let you go in just a minute so you can get those healed up. But if you could do me a favor, let folks know that if you come in to our territory, which is any area that we're in, and you threaten us as the first thing you do, you will die. We can talk. I prefer to talk. I don't mind talking. But threatening leads to death. And I'm getting real tired of folks coming in, stealing our shit, grabbing our crap, and threatening us. You know how it feels to have someone just walk in and say, "Come with us or we'll kill you"? It's just not a good scene. So let folks know as best you can in any area that we don't take kindly to threats. And if people try to capture us that way, they won't. Does that sound good to you?
He nods and at first doesn't say anything. And after a moment, you realize that he's trying to catch his breath and having a hard time doing that. And at length, he finally says, "Yeah, that makes sense to me."
All right, one last thing before you go, and if you're bleeding out, let us know so we can heal you. But one last thing before you go. Your crew, I at least assume crew with the same colors as you, were the ones that captured us after we had smuggled. Do you have any idea, throughout the grapevine, what happened to the little princess lady after we had given her back?
I don't know much about it. Last I heard, she was seen heading towards Spaden. I don't know why, because what I had heard was that you all had let her off and she was supposed to go home. So I don't know what caused her to start going back that way.
Cool. Double confirmation on Spocken. Well, thank you so much. Feel free to head out the door if you're able. If not, I'm sure we could find a way to move you.
I have one more piece of information. I would really appreciate a little bit of healing magic in exchange for it.
All right.
Your ship, your other ship.
Mm-hmm.
It was when we were at the tomb. They were trying not to tell us where you were. They told us your ship was heading to Targus, and he looks back at the person who had spoken, who was the first one who was attacked and who is now dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to say he recognized that the folks at the tomb were trying to be clever and tell us when we asked where your ship was, they said your ship had gone to Targus, which was true, but I think they were trying to throw us off your scent. So it's probably true that your ship is in Targus. Do you know what I mean? They were trying to answer the question without answering the question, and I thought you might want to know where your boat is.
I actually do really appreciate. What's your name, sir?
Corrigan.
Corrigan. I'll remember you. Do you have anything that makes you stand out from the rest of your band? Or y'all kind of wearing the same colors, you know?
After today, a lot of scars, I imagine.
True. He's gonna like kind of look in, his bag and see if he has like some kind of strap of leather or a cloth or something of that. That's like of a certain color or anything like that. Anything that can be worn to be designated, basically.
All right. Yeah, you find a kind of a colorful scarf.
All right. He's gonna hand it to the guy. If you ever see us, and of course you're being forced into battle and all that stuff, I don't particularly want to kill you. So, if you see us, and it seems like we're about to annihilate you, and honestly, no offense, you can get lost in the mix of the many people that we end up slaughtering. I do apologize for that. Wear this scarf, and if we see you, we'll do our best to not murder you. We'll keep you alive as best as possible.
With some difficulty, he does manage to smile, and he says, I'm sure it'll really bring out my eyes. And you do notice as he said that despite your initial impression of all of the orcs pretty much looking the same, this particular orc does have rather striking green eyes.
Nice. I'm going to kind of gesture for Marina to kind of heal him. I don't know where she is at the moment. I think maybe her phone died or something, but
okay.
I assume she would heal him based on her nice mindset.
So Corrigan accepts the healing with a great deal of expressed gratitude, and makes his way out of the tavern. He still doesn't look great, but he's no longer right on the brink of death.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of this having now transpired, what does the party want to do next?
Oh, kind of look at the crew. I'm going to look at Signa and just go, so, where did the sword play come from?
Oh, well, I mean, I was always decent with swords. I hadn't really prioritized it, but I tried tapping into my magic, and there just wasn't really anything there. So I figured taking up a career and stabbing things really hard was going to be the best way forward without that.
Fair enough.
And what about
the eating people? Yeah. Me and Locke on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah, well I was really hungry for something savory, and blood fills that role really well, and it also helped close some of my.
So, seeing as I've been pouring through an anatomy book, seeing as I've been pouring through like notes on anatomy and stuff in the workshop, I'm gonna hop up on the table and I'm gonna go over to Signa And I'm gonna just kind of like, I'm gonna hold my hands up, walking up to him like, mind if I give you a little exam real quick? Trying to figure out what the heck's different now.
Sure, why not?
All right. So while Locke is doing that, Marina, you've just witnessed Signa, go ham with swordplay and attack someone with a bite attack that looked pretty effective. What you know off the top of your head is that since you are from the ocean, you have some knowledge of the deities that Signa was a warlock of. And you have heard accounts of people being brought back to life by beings like that, but it's not true healing. And when people come back, they often come back in some way changed, in some way touched by and connected to either death or undeath. And Locke, I didn't mean to cut you off there. What were you going to say?
I'm kind of just giving Signa an exam, trying to figure out what's different. You know?
Marina would also be helping, and it's like, Signa, I know I healed you for the most part the other day, but if you don't mind, I'd like to make sure you're doing all right. Generally speaking, not many people, well, I should say, survive going that deep into the ocean, especially with the gods calling like that.
I mean, as far as I've noticed, I did stop
intriguing.
breathing.
We didn't hear you there, Signa.
As far as I've noticed, I did stop breathing after the battle. I just decided not to mention it.
I'm sorry?
Why would you not mention that? Breathing's kind of important. Land
clearly
or sea.
not.
Signa.
They kind of have a point.
Lord Ocean's freaking star. I should have stayed in the water.
So, Locke, what the two of you are both going to notice pretty immediately is that in addition to having no breath, Signa has no pulse, and Signa is roughly room temperature. And for more information, you can do a medicine check, and since it's the two of you, I'll say do it with advantage.
Yeah.
Wait, am I doing the medicine check or is Locke doing it?
Whoever wants to.
Actually, I'm gonna guess that, you know what? Well, seeing as I'm the one poking and prodding right now, I guess we'll do the medicine.
You got this. I believe in you.
Oh man, you shouldn't have.
I'll be right there with you.
Natural one. He looks healthy.
That's a
if
solid.
You roll, Marina's rolling.
That is a solid 9.
That's sad. Can I roll?
Sure, why not?
9.
So basically, Locke takes on a very solemn look, more solemn than any of you have ever seen Locke, and say, "Well, I'm sorry to inform you, Signa, but you appear to have died, so we're going to miss you."
So Marina rolled a dirty 26.
Okay, so Marina.
The real doctor's here.
Marina, what you're going to know is that Signa has entered a state of undeath. And the state of undeath is not something like a zombie where it's a mindless undeath, nor is it undeath like a vampire where someone loses their personality in undeath. Signa is still Signa, for better or worse. But this will affect things like what kind of magic Signa is capable of doing, what kind of powers she's able to wield, because a lot of that stuff is directly tied to your connection to the natural world. and being in a state of undeath. It's probably why Signa's been unable to interact with her deities, because the deities were interacting with a living mind, and there's now not a living thing for them to hone in on. And that is what you know.
So after checking Signa, Marina's gonna pause and it's like, you are technically alive, but you're not alive. That makes sense. You're not quite dead and not quite alive. You're in between. But because of that, the gods will not be able to speak with you or work with you the exact same way they did before, because you're not alive in a sense. And because of that, things are going to be different. So be sure to let us know if anything else happens. Not breathing during battle is kind of concerning, but it makes sense now since you're not alive. So you don't need to breathe, which is honestly kind of fascinating. I mean, it lessens the worry so you won't technically drown in water now, I guess, in a sense. I'm trying to make light of the situation. I'm sorry. I've never seen this happen before.
We could say
But
that
for now,
she now
you're
has
okay.
1 foot in the grave.
Well, literally, she does, so. But everything should be okay. Just things are going to be different for you, and I'm sure not just physically things will be different. I'm sure your abilities will be different as well. So,
Well, I've
play
already
it
noticed that. The
carefully.
ghost knives are cool.
Got ghost knives?
You
Oh, yeah,
really
didn't you
need to
notice
let
that
us
when I
know
was
if there's
stabbing those
anything
people?
different.
I was kind of focused on the whole stabbing them.
Yeah, when I was stabbing them, the people around them were also getting stabbed, even though there was no one there. Ghost knives.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I thought I saw something, but I wasn't really sure what I saw.
And then,
Kind of
of course,
assumed
there's
it was
also
from... Kind of assumed it was from, like, the 8 people in the room.
That's fair. Then, of course, there's also the healing from drinking blood bit, which I am entirely okay with.
You know, I'll make a great pirate. So, we now have a lead on our boat, but it's kind of big, and I assume the boat will be okay. But we did get secondary confirmation on the princess, so we know that's where she was heading.
Yep, and with that in mind, at least now we have a direction, so.
Yeah.
At some length, the back door of the tavern opens up, and the tavern keeper pokes his head in and looks at the scene and looks at you all. And a moment passes where this person's clearly trying to formulate some sort of reaction to the situation. And he says, "I never doubted you for a minute."
Ace will give him a curt nod and say, "Thank you. Do you still need the money for the food?"
That would be really great, but mostly I would just like you to leave, and maybe if you could take a few of your, he looks at the pile of bodies around you, a few of your acquaintances with you on the way out, just even if you just dump them outside, just maybe not in the middle of my establishment.
Oh yeah, no problem. Sorry about the blood all over the floor, by the way. Not our intention. So, but no, we'll take out the bodies.
I said we raid the pantry. He locked us in here.
No, he seems like a reasonable guy. He's just trying to live his life.
Right. Live his life means run away and leave, not run away and lock the fucking door.
Well, if we come back, friends in low places are still friends. No offense.
Tell you what. He's going to reach under the bar and he's going to pull out a dusty bottle
Ooh.
which you will hand to Locke. And it says, usually this is for VIP guests, but I'll give it to you all as a token of my friendship. And look, I'm a tavern keeper, not a warrior. If you guys had run after me, then those guys might have run after you, and I might not have gotten to safety. And that was really my whole priority. I wasn't trying to put you in a bad spot.
We
I'd say
understand.
this makes a square.
There we go.
What's that, Luck?
I'd say this makes a square.
I'm glad you see it
Thank
that
you
way.
for the food. And sorry about the place.
Ace will stand up at this point, walk towards some of the bodies, and just start dragging some out the door. Like, he'll open up the door, kind of look outside, see if anybody's out there.
All right. So as you're doing this, you definitely get some curious looks and even gasps from some people who happen to be walking by. But this is the kind of town where if you see something you shouldn't, no, you didn't. So everybody just kind of keeps going and does their level best to ignore what's happening.
Yeah, you'll just like pull out, see a person gasp, and just go, "Don't worry, he had a bad day. You know, don't just mosey on. Don't worry about it." And you just don't chunk the guy to the side of the tavern, go back in, grab another.
As you're at this work, Ace, what you're going to notice, you can see the harbor from here.
Mhm.
You're able to see your boat, but more importantly, you're able to see a ship that's flying the red crescent moon against the black background of Sargasia.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that ship putting out to sea in what appears to be a disorderly and harried fashion.
Hey, they didn't take our boat. That's nice of them. Alright, well, they're leaving, guys, so we should be good.
So should we, I guess, yeah.
I mean, we got some provisions. I assume we got provisions at this point.
You were, in fact, able to get provisions, and you do have enough provisions for the next leg of your journey.
Nice. We got provisions. Nice to meet you, Mr. Barkeep. Sure the mess won't be too hard to clean now the bodies are out of the way, so let's get going, and well, the word's gonna be spread that they're either going to threaten us and die, or they'll have a cordial communication with us, you know? Oh. Shall we go?
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, the sooner we're out of here, the better, personally. I'd like to be back on the water.
And we're gonna head to
Alright.
the boat.
So the tavern keeper wishes you farewell as he's coming out from behind the bar with a bucket and a rag to start cleaning up the mess, which I'm not going to describe, but it's not pleasant in there at the moment. And I think Marina, having the highest passive perception, is going to just barely hear him muttering under his breath. And Mom said to become a soldier, and I said, no, I don't want to deal with all that blood, so I'm going to be a tavern keeper. But here we are, sort of complaining to himself as he's going about his work.
Poor dude.
You all make your way back to your ship and are able to set out without any further incident. And we're going to leave off after just a minute here, but before we do that, what's everybody, since you will have a little bit of time to yourself, what's everybody going to set about doing as you start the next leg of your journey here?
Ace will probably be kind of thinking about the next steps. So if you find the princess, you do this and do that. Kind of trying to track his boat based on what he knows of the ocean currents and stuff like that. Trying to keep a general mind about his boat so he can go find it. After we do that, trying to make sure that the winds are good, we're on our heading, and all that.
Okay. And I guess next we'll go to Locke. Same question.
I'm continuing my research. I'm trying to get a better idea of what's going on with the with the text that I found, and I'm looking around. I'm still looking around for more information on anatomy, because I now have new notes that I can add to whatever's already in there.
So, if your sometimes companion Oleara decides to make an appearance, are you going to talk to her about what you saw?
Yeah. 100%.
All right. So, up until now, most of your interactions with her have been, I wouldn't quite say that it was patronizing, but it was definitely a situation where she was the senior of the two of you, and she was interested in promoting your learning, but didn't seem to think she had much to learn from you. Upon hearing about this, she's going to say, "Oh, I've heard of that kind of thing. I've never actually seen it." And she's going to press for more detail. Pretty much, no matter how much detail you go into, she's going to be asking more questions and pressing for more details. And at length, she's going to indicate some of the beakers and tubes and say, you know, not many people can safely get access to undead blood. It could really advance the field of alchemy if you could even bring a small sample back here for us to work with. I'm just don't put yourself in danger to do it. Don't antagonize your friend. But if you have a chance, it could be really worthwhile, for science.
I think I might be able to pull that off.
And Marina, same question. What's Marina going to be up to?
Marina's just gonna go back to what she was doing before and just watching the ocean as we go around. And she'll probably maybe make her probably eventually over time check on everyone, but she's mostly gonna stay and watch the ocean.
What's Marina's mood at this point?
I would say her mood is kind of homesick, and she doesn't know exactly what to do at this point, especially given that she doesn't know why, what her involvement is with the princess and why her family had her in the first place. So she really doesn't know how to feel at this point and what to do.
Okay, so she's at a point. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like she's at a point where she got sent on this journey by her family, but it's not exactly clear what her family was hoping she would achieve, and nor how to achieve it.
Basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, Signa. What's Signa getting up to?
Signa, forgetting that she in fact has the senses of a blind rat, is going to crawl up on the mast to look out for things.
Okay.
The boats.
Well, since you have some time to do this, you can go ahead and make a perception check with advantage.
So that's going to be a mighty.
What number?
7.
7. So when you begin to crawl up on the mast, you have the ability to look out at the ocean, but you and anyone who's paying attention are somewhat distracted because whatever's on the ocean at the moment isn't nearly as intriguing as the fact that as you start to walk up the mast or as you start to climb up the mast, you lose your grip. But to your surprise, you don't fall, and you find that not only do you not fall, but you're able to continue walking up the mast, not climbing, walking up the mast, not touching the mast with your hands at all, just casually as though you were walking along the deck, except you're moving in direct defiance of gravity.
Huh.
That's new.
Well, that's new.
And on that not at all disturbing note, I think that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. This was a little bit different of a kind of session than we've had before, simply because we had a player who swapped from not just one character to another, but a totally different type of character. And so I wanted to make sure that there was a chance to see how that would interact with the party and give that person a chance to get comfortable with their abilities. And I hope it was fun for you all.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's very exciting. If you guys want to see more episodes like this, feel free to go over to our YouTube channel, Tables of Tartarus, where we have not only this entire series, but also Adventures into the End Times, which is another series that we did as kind of the prequel to this campaign, to some sort. A couple hundred years, I believe, difference. There's also another series that I'm doing on Fridays called Shifting Fates. It's another 5e campaign. That's an entire series is also on that channel, as well as a homebrewed a campaign called Jump Chain for anyone in the audience who recognizes that kind of series. If you guys want to check out any of that, as always, feel free to check out that link tree, go to our Discord for any of the events, and follow this channel if you guys want to see more. We should be going live again in about 2 hours. Hope to see you guys there. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.